Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the press conference of the Intergroup of Western Sahara. My name is Norbert Neuser from Germany. I'm the chairman of the Intergroup, and today we want to inform you about the expulsion of members of European Parliament from visiting the occupied territories in Morocco, in Western Sahara, what happened last week. And then we want to give some explanations about the reactions of the political groups and especially of the President of European Parliament. I just want to introduce our delegation. Pino Arlacchi is Vice Chair of the Intergroup of Western Sahara. He couldn't join the meeting to Western Sahara, same as I. Then we have Vicente, Garcés, Ramón from Spain. He went to Casablanca, but it was not possible for him to go further to Western Sahara. The same like Vajgl from Slovenia, and the same happens to Willy Meyer from Spain. The fourth member, Isabellla Lövin from Sweden, cannot join us today. And then we want to inform about the trial in Rabat, because two members of our group joined this trial. This was Willy Meyer again and Masip, Hidalgo. Okay, so I think some of you should start. We have translation in a lot of languages. Thank you very much.
Well, once again, thank you for your interest in this issue. We already had quite an extensive information about what happened to the delegation, so I am not going to repeat the story of how the delegation was expelled, what was the scenario and what was the treatment. I would just repeat that the treatment was absolutely unacceptable, that it was, I can say, also inhuman. We were treated like criminals, maybe criminals deluxe, but still criminals. And the same way actually treated us in his very undiplomatic letter, the ambassador of Morocco in Brussels. He allowed himself to label the members of European Parliament who are good, who are bad, who are agents, who are lobbyists. It is something I have behind me about 30 years of diplomatic job. I used to be ambassador to 10 countries and Minister of Foreign Affairs of my country. I have never met such an arrogant and I would say primitive way of exerting his job. So it is, as I said, absolutely unacceptable. Now, the second thing I would like to say is this event has had quite a broad coverage all around the world, one can say. I read even some American reactions on this, but definitely in all European media. And the main question the media was making was what Morocco has to hide. Why did they not allow us to visit occupied territory? Why only their declared friends can visit Western Sahara and come back with the statements where they are praising the democracy and respect of human rights and all this stuff which everybody knows that it is not the truth. So I would like to recall at the end that there have been not only in this Parliament in last 2-3 years a couple of resolutions where we very critically spoke about the human rights situation in Morocco, but there were also some internationally very credible reports from the Robert Kennedy Foundation, for instance, from the Special Representative of United Nations for the problem of torture, and from United States Congress. And in all these reports, the situation of human rights in Morocco, I am not talking only about Western Sahara, but about Morocco, the situation was described as very critical. And I think we should, after what happened with this delegation, we should try to demythicize this issue and not giving the Morocco bluntly passport as being a country where the human rights are respected. It is not true at all. So I would stop here, please.
Thank you very much. Ivo, Willy, you want to continue?
Sí, yo muy rápidamente para...
Yes, very quickly. I would like to cede the floor to my colleagues in just a moment. I don't want to repeat what our colleague Ivo was saying as head of the delegation. It's just that this is a very serious incident and cannot be neglected by the presidency of the European Parliament. It's up to the president to respond and say that the European Parliament does have a position on the non-autonomous territory of Western Sahara. And we have reiterated this in a number of different reports. At the latest session in Strasbourg, we gave a mandate for the 22nd meeting of the Human Rights Committee of the United Nations in Geneva. There, the European Parliament spoke clearly and requested the release of political prisoners from the Western Sahara and insisted that it's necessary to comply with human rights and the right of self-determination of the Sahrawi people. This was the latest position from the European Parliament. So members of Parliament must follow up on this. We must go to those territories in order to observe the very serious situation with the human rights violations there. So we're talking about Morocco, a country which has failed to comply and has contravened the work done by 4 parliamentary groups who wish to go as observers to observe the human rights situation there. And the president of my group, Mrs. Chamber, spoke at the plenary to the acting president to ask the president of parliament to make a public statement. Now, exactly 1 year ago, when I was also refused entry at Ayoun from Spain, the President of the European Parliament did make such a statement. So it wouldn't be understood if 1 year later, when 4 MEPs were refused entrance, and there's no reaction from the European Parliament, that would be impossible to understand. And that is why I launched an appeal to ask the President of the Parliament to speak out when 4 MEPs were prevented from fulfilling their task and their mission on the basis of the mandate we had been given.
Thank you very much, Willy, for your clear statement. You want to add, perhaps? Okay.
Sí. Muy brevemente.
Yes, very briefly. Well, I would like to mention something that occurred 6 days ago. And that was, I caught a cold and lost my voice. No doubt this is due to the ill winds that were blowing on that day. So I do apologize. My voice is not very good. I wanted to say that 4 members of European Parliament and from 4 political groups from 4 different member states deserved respect from the Moroccan authorities, and today they deserve the respect of the highest representative of the European Parliament. Now, we were not given respect in the former case. We were not afforded the minimum democratic decorum. We were refused entry into the country, Morocco, on a mission of peace. We were going to, as observers of civil society, of public institutions, we were going to collect information with a view to formulating opinions subsequently. But we did not receive minimum respect that one should be afforded in a democracy. We did not receive the customary treatment that is afforded between institutions and between countries, so we were not able to enter Morocco. Now, in my own personal life, I can only recall two previous occasions where something similar happened. I was expelled from a country. One was in September 1973, after the coup d'etat in Chile. General Pinochet expelled me from the country. And the second was in 1987, also under General Pinochet's dictatorship in Chile. I tried to go back to Chile for the first time since the 73 coup d'etat, but in 1987, for the second time, General Pinochet expelled me from the airport at Santiago de Chile. But apart from those two incidents, which had their own logic in a military dictatorship, I cannot understand how in 2013 in Morocco, a situation of this kind, as we experienced 6 days ago, could occur again. So that's why it's very important for the entire European Parliament to express its positions, and through the voice of its highest representative. This is for the sake of parliamentary dignity, and quite clearly we cannot neglect this very serious incident where we were denied our right to travel and to represent the European Parliament wherever we feel we should go. In order to conclude, I would like to say that what we're trying to do here today is explain what's happened between 6 days ago and today. There have been a number of letters going back and forth amongst the various political groups and the members of the European Parliament present here today. But we have not yet concluded the procedure on 2 points, which I feel are necessary. One is we need an express statement from the President of the European Parliament condemning this event. And secondly, we do need a commitment from the European Parliament to send an official delegation from the European Parliament to visit the occupied territories in the Western Sahara. So those are the 2 points that are still outstanding. And we shall attempt to insist on these and make sure that these wishes are fulfilled. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. In the meantime, heartily welcome to Marcus Scurria from Italy, from the PPE. And I just want to add one information. We did inform the Moroccan authorities on the 25th of February about our visit and about our aims, that we want to meet MINURSO, we want to meet Moroccan authorities, we want to meet NGOs. It was clear. And the answer came at the 5th of March from the Embassy of Morocco. The delegation is not welcome. This was the result. I think we should now switch over to the trial from Rabat, and perhaps Antonio Masip, you give some short information about it.
Sí, gracias, presidente. Muy brevemente. En Francia.
Thank you. Yes, briefly. We're in France, and so I can tell you in France that the Bimbarka case must be in your memories. You know about the Moroccan police who came to Paris and kidnapped Bimbarka, put him in a garage, tortured him, and killed him. Well, the same thing has happened in this case. Without any right whatsoever, without any military jurisdiction, the Moroccans went to the autonomous territory of the Western Sahara, kidnapped 25 people, took them to Rabat, and Willy and I saw the judgment, the trial, which was macabre and absurd, and it ran entirely counter to international law. And we are here to say that the European Union, this European Parliament, cannot look away. Our chairman spoke out quite properly about the 4 who were not able to go. And I was able to go to Morocco. They treated me very well. I don't deny that. But they treated me well, not the people who were tortured. And so I am here to speak on behalf of those who were tortured and to say that the European Union and the European Parliament cannot allow this to happen. Now, I received a letter from the Moroccan ambassador saying that we were Algerian agents. How could he say that? I was accused over 20 years of the dictatorship of Franco of being an agent for Moscow. Now I've come down in life, an agent for Algeria, really. I think that this Parliament needs to support us. We have been offended, we have been insulted. We were there, and we know something about law. I'm going to tell you that I have worked as a lawyer for 40 years, and I have seen many, many thousands of trials, and I've only seen one other trial as bad as the one I just saw in Rabat, and that was in Burgos, Spain in 1974, when Franco convicted Angelo Otaegui, sentenced him to death, and I was the spokesperson for the European observers at the time, and they assassinated him in a cowardly fashion. So I think that military trials, be they in Spain or in Morocco or anywhere else, they must not be tolerated.
Okay, thank you very much, Antonio Masip. I think, especially for you, it was not easy to go there to Rabat, and you did it. I think this is a very good experience for us, and it helps us to clear the situation. So at last, I think some conclusions by Pino Arlacchi about what our group and together with a lot of members we are planning to do.
Yes, thank you. I believe that this accident was not just not by chance, and this accident will sign a change of course of the Parliament, and we hope of all the European Union, not vis-à-vis the fight and the liberation movement of the Sahrawi people, but on Morocco. Because this is the second real point. The first is the rights of the Sahrawi people to self-determination, a right which is recognized by all possible international bodies and by the international law. But if we do an analysis of what happened last week and what could be the lesson we got a very important lesson. We cannot anymore consider Morocco as a serious interlocutor of the European Union. We cannot consider Morocco as a country who wants to reform and democratize. We have to consider Morocco as probably it is, a medieval tyranny that is throwing smoke in the eyes of the international community and of the European Union, making us believe that they are doing reforms, and the following day contradicting what they are doing. What are the reforms they are doing? When they speak about democracy, they show that they cannot tolerate elementary democratic scrutiny by a democratic parliament. They have a prime minister that can be dismissed, appointed and set apart by the king like this, without any procedure. The king is still the owner of the country. The king is still the man who appoints judges, who is the head of armed forces, who is the head of foreign policy, and who owns literally the country. Morocco has 32 million inhabitants and 100 billion euros GDP, and almost 10% of the GDP is owned personally by the king, his family and his associates. So it's not even an absolute monarchy. It's a private property of a man and of a circle of men around him. This is what everyone knows in Morocco and abroad, and this is the reason why their reform is a window dressing and smoke in the eyes of us. So I believe that from now onward our attitude should change, and the Parliament and the European Union should reconsider all its attitude towards Morocco, all the credit we gave them until this moment on their reform process, and the Sahrawi question is only one aspect of this. the military occupation of Sahrawi is the logical consequence of a natural regime such as this, and their behaviour with our people last week was perfectly coherent on what they are. So Morocco should not expect from us any further credit, and as they declared our people persona non grata, de facto, they, and particularly the ambassador who wrote that very unpolite, unprofessional letter, should be considered in this parliament also a persona non grata.
Okay, thank you very much. We have now for each of you 1 minute, Marco and Isabel, and then a little bit time for questions and answers.
Sì, dunque io
I was meant to go to Western Sahara with my colleagues, but various commitments in Brussels kept me there. So I felt the need at the outset of this plenary session to ask President Schulz about what happened and to have from President Schulz some reply in view of the seriousness of this situation, where some MEPs were not only not allowed to complete their mission, but, as was said earlier, to be deemed undesirable persons by a country, Morocco, with which Europe has all sorts of agreements and conventions, sometimes against the EU's interests, let me say frankly. And I'm sorry that President Schulz's reply was that he was asked us to look at what the situation was, and we expected Mr. Schulz to condemn what had happened. What the Moroccan regime did, preventing 4 of our colleagues from carrying out their job. And this is a scandal. This is the scandal about what happened last week in Morocco. And I think that there's no alternative but to consider an official delegation of the Parliament, with perhaps the President at its head, to investigate the situation, which we all know about, of the refugee camps in Western Sahara, not only to identify and determine what the situation is, but also to avoid any fear arising. I'm afraid that Europe will be looking only at crisis situations where there's violence, bombs, and violent conflict, which we don't want, because in the Western Mediterranean we already have various problems. We shouldn't await this Western Saharan problem breaking out into acts of violence, which we don't want and which we would have to condemn. But this is an aspect which, if we don't want it to happen, we have to assume our responsibilities, in particular the European Parliament and its President, to condemn what happened and to take a course which involves assessing how human rights are not being vindicated in that part of the world, which we are also concerned about.
Thank you very much, and excuse me for being late, but that was a meeting, one of my reports. But I was one of the MEPs that were expelled from Casablanca airport, which was quite a shock to me, and I would add to that the email from the Moroccan ambassador was also quite a shock. I mean, we all feel very humiliated, not personally, but I feel humiliated on the part of all my voters and everyone that elected me as their representative, and I was just trying to do my job and look on the ground what the situation is for the Sahrawi people, and we also reached out a hand to the Moroccan authorities, an offering to meet with them, and we also are going to meet with the MINURSO UN forces all over there. So all accusations about us being impartial, not being impartial, I mean, is absolutely ridiculous. We are trying to do our job as best as we can. And I also think it's very unfortunate that the Moroccan authorities take some initiatives to invite specially, let's say, interested MEPs to come under their conditions only. And I've seen the reports and programs of the Moroccan Friendship Intergroup that visited Dakhla and Morocco in the beginning of February, and they did not meet with MINURSO, they did not meet with any NGOs or human rights organizations or the Polisario, so that was really not an impartial visit. I just want to say a few words about the fisheries agreement that is now under negotiations between the EU and Morocco, which, according to my information, also again includes the waters of Western Sahara. The issue of human rights has been raised in the European Parliament a number of times, also when we rejected the fisheries agreement a year ago. And to my knowledge, now the Commission is negotiating and wanting to put in a special clause in the protocol concerning human rights. But in a situation where this country clearly does not respect human rights at present, it seems to me like a very small comfort that you have the words human rights in the fisheries agreements, and knowing that Morocco is not respecting human rights. And I think that we must be very clear that that is not what is meant by respecting human rights, that you just accept the words human rights in a fisheries agreement. So we'll see where that will come, and I'd just like to end by saying that if the European Parliament accepts the treatment of us in this way, from the part of Morocco, with no legal explanation, nothing really tangible to explain why we were not allowed to come into, not even to Casablanca, then what? What other countries can refuse MEPs to travel to their territories? Will we accept that all the countries that have issues regarding human rights will not allow MEPs to travel to their countries? I mean, this is a very clear case where the European Parliament must protest, because otherwise what will we say next time when I mean, Burma or whatever country says, no, you're not welcome. And so this is really a very important example, and we need to set an example here. Thank you.
So thank you very much. We are running out of time. Only 2 questions, short questions. Otherwise we can do it outside, because the next group is waiting already. Okay, so thank you very much. We are going to inform you further on. We will have next week meetings again with human rights defender from Western Sahara in Brussels.
Très vite. Juste un petit peu. Non, je voudrais juste dire, je suis membre de la...
I'm a member of the Human Rights Subcommittee. We're meant to be going to Myanmar in 3 weeks' time. No problem whatsoever with that. Just wanted to let you know. We'll be going along at the end of March. That's the Human Rights Subcommittee. That's all I wanted to say.